Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Eva Cremers, who's an amazing Dutch 3D artist. I've had a pleasure to hang out with her. She's super cool. Her work is even more amazing. She's collaborated with some big brands. Her work is really quirky and colorful. Please hang out with her. She's an amazing person to chill out with as well. And she's going to take us through a workflow and her creative presentation and approach to things that she does. And I'll let Eva take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful introduction. Welcome and thank you all for joining this presentation. My name is Eva Cremers and I am a 3D artist and animation director. And to give you an idea of what I do, this is basically what I create. All right. If people ask me, what do you do? I always find it really difficult to explain what I do, especially when it's 3D. Even my parents still have no idea exactly what I'm doing. So I always try to say, I try to design fun and I try to design smiles, basically, because my work is very colorful and playful. And I love the fact that I'm able with my work, which is very, of course, inside the computer, always in front of a screen. I like to take it outside of the screen. So you can see my work in, for example, big malls where they've actually created sculptures and creatures from 3D models. You can see it on buildings, for example, on very large screens. I think this is in Korea, I believe. But also on walls, which is not really something you see every day. A 3D illustration actually getting painted onto a wall. For me, this was really, really cool to see happening. It was for Amazon Music. I created 2 murals and they painted it in the middle of New York, actually. So that was a really unexpected, but really cool cooperation. Also on gadgets, I designed some characters for Samsung. And it was really cool. For example, this one, if you have the new watch and you go, for example, for a run, this guy will run on your heart rate pace. So it's really cool if you go faster, then the guy starts running faster as well. So that was a really, really fun one to work on. But also on clothing, which is another unexpected collaboration. But I actually got an email from H&M that they wanted to do a kids' clothing line with me. And at the beginning, I actually thought, I would just deliver some artwork and they would then throw it on some clothing and my name would not even be mentioned. But in the end, my name was mega bigger than their own logo, and it was just such a surreal moment for me, where we designed everything from newborn to 14-year-old, using 3D illustration as a basics for the full clothing line. And I actually have a 1-year-old son, so he's going to wear everything from now until he's 14. So that was a really cool collaboration. But I thought it could be interesting to tell you a bit about how I got into it, because I never really imagined myself as a 3D artist or an artist even. I actually studied international business, something completely different. I grew up in a family where that was a more normal choice of option. And I could already see myself, becoming this boss lady. But while studying it, I realized, I'm just going to sit in an office all day and it will probably look more like this. So I quit and I decided I wanted to be a creative and do something creative. But in my mind, an artist was still very much a Bob Ross, painting all day and really hard to make a living out of it. But I decided to do it anyway and try it. And I studied graphic design for 4 years. And after that, I didn't really know what to do. But I actually got an email from Man vs. Machine, who is a really big agency creating a lot of CG content. Still no idea why they reached out, but they did. And they asked me to do an internship there. And obviously I said yes. But since they do so much with Cinema 4D, they basically asked me, like, can you learn some very basics just so you understand what we're working on? And this is actually how I accidentally, fell into the 3D rabbit hole. This is basically how I started. So I had no idea of Cinema 4D. I actually had to Google what is Cinema 4D, what is it, what is the program, and how to download it. And I just Googled tutorials for beginners. And the thing was that it's so overwhelming. There's so many buttons, there's so much going on, there's so many options. But there was also zero pressure for me because it was just, about having fun and learning as much as I could before stepping into that internship. So just playing around with it. And also, I did only have 3 months prior to the internship. So doing the normal learning curve, I knew I had to condense it into a short time period. So I was skipping tutorials and fastly reading through menus and things like that, just trying to learn it as quick as I could, and also not really learning it by the rules. So I tried to find my own solutions in a way. And very quickly, for example, I would Google like how to create an eye. And I would see a tutorial of like how to sculpt a realistic eye. And I was like, no, this is taking hours. And then I realized, you know what? A cartoon eye is just 2 balls on top of each other. So I started to think of smart and easy and fast solutions. And it also simultaneously shaped the way things were looking. And I actually really liked the sort of cute characters that came out of that. And so I slowly started to build worlds around it and learning more about texturing and lighting and things like that. And it just really had a lot of fun with it. And I decided that this is what I want to do for a living, basically. And I started to create work that I wanted to get hired for. So I started to do a lot of personal projects and like personal explorations. Such as this, mixing media together. And here you can see, for the people that understand Cinema 4D, terrible topology. It doesn't look nice, but I don't care. It looks nice in the end, and I try to really make it fast and fun and try to sculpt with it rather than, playing by the rules, basically. So I did, and I kept on creating and kept on working on fun projects for clients as well. And I've always had this idea of, I just started so quickly. I'm not really technical in the program. I can't do really complex dynamics. But I realized it doesn't really matter. I use my program the way I want it to, and it's actually working out great. And I realized you don't really have to be the best to, make a living out of it or become a successful artist in a way. And actually, I was asked by Maxon last year, or actually beginning of this year, to come visit their summit and actually create all the branding around it. And I thought, do these guys know that I don't know their full program and I don't know how to use every tool? But they didn't care. They just liked the way I was approaching it and like using it. So I was really excited to be able, and scared to be able to stand in front of them and share my story. So taking you to the project, they asked me to create a video, and the theme of their summit was Stand Out. and it wanted a mascot character. So very quickly I thought, we can do something with the O. It could be a character there, and we immediately mixed the two together. And the O could maybe be a big ball. And I was just sketching around this idea of, if you stand out, you're different than the rest, you act different, or you look different, or you stand out in what you do. And I just wanted to highlight it by using different shapes and have 4 scenes where in every scene, it's really hard to explain, but for example, in every scene, they would all do the same, but there will be one object doing something different and being the standout. So I tried to create a storyline in a very abstract animation. And in the end, the objects would all come together and form this mascot character. And it was really fun to play with it and to create these abstract images and to create this mascot. And the way I work is I try to render really early in the process, just to match everything together and to make sure it all makes sense in the end. Just going through this fairly quickly as I'm going to do some live things as well. But here you can see how I started doing things by just blocking it out basically and doing some small dynamics as well. And, whoops. Here you can see a bit of behind the scenes of like things that I tried out. And it was really fun for me because I don't usually really work with dynamics a lot, but in this case for me it was really a playground to use it and try it and have fun with it and see what would happen basically. And here you can see also some research development like on the look and feel and the textures and all that. And it's just really fun to play with that and test it out and like make a lot of variations and mix and match all the scenes together. So quickly going through this, these are some of the final renders that were also used on banners and on the lanyard designs and things like that. And it was just really fun to see it at the end coming together and going to the summit and seeing all the artwork hanging everywhere. For example, here you can see what that looks like. And they actually made a sticker sheet as well. And everyone had it in their goodie bag. And there were people walking around with glasses and the eyeballs on top, which was really funny. And here's the final result. All right, let's dive in cinema. We need a quick change from this laptop to the other. But to complement my story a bit, I just want to show you nothing complex, nothing crazy, not diving in an existing project. I just want to start playing with no assets and just showing you how easy and quickly you can start with Cinema 4D and like how you can have fun with it, just creating something within under, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, whatever time we have left. If you can swap the laptops, please. Is this working? Yeah, there we go. So I like to think as Cinema 4D as kind of digital clay, where you can just play with it a lot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create quick character, and since we're at the end of summer, but we really want to hold on tight to it, I'm actually going to create a... Woo? Ah, there we go. I'm actually going to create a little sun. Yep. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm going to create a little sun, and I'm going to add some rays to it by actually using a tool, very easily drawing some lines. And often you would think like, no way this can look good in the end. This is too easy. So there we go. And I'm going to extrude that. Something like that. There we go. But a little less thick. I don't know, 5 maybe. Yeah, something like that. They're a bit too pointy, so I'm going to select them all and make them a bit more round. There we go. We're going to give him a little face, of course, because I love a character with a face. So we're just grabbing a cylinder here, and we're going to create a nose. There we go. So as you can see, it doesn't really have a lot of subdivisions, so I'm going to add a couple of them. Whoops. There we go. And I'm going to bend it, and it's going to have this kind of cartoony nose. And I'm going to add a taper as well. There we go. Fits apparent. Like that. And adding this in. There we go. All right. It doesn't look much like a regular nose, but, you know, once we paste it in here, let me see, there, whoop, and re-rotate it. I love using just very basic shapes and then sculpt it later on. Why is this working so weirdly? Do I have this? I don't know. There's one setting different, but doesn't really matter. It doesn't, yeah, there we go. All right. There we have a little nose, right? Okay, what's next? We can add some eyes, maybe. Or maybe, since it's a sun, we want to add sunglasses. So we can do a funny shape sunglasses. So we're going to draw again, use the spline tool, and do a heart-shaped sunglasses. Let's hope we can use sunglasses for a couple more days before we're diving into pumpkin letters and things like that. Okay, quickly trying to shape a regular heart. I'm also a bit too tall for this computer setup. So here's a heart. It's not perfect, but that doesn't really matter. And I'm going to add a sweep and tell the sweep to make a little tube around that heart. And we see something happening here, which is easy fixable, which is round the corner. There we go. And it looks like that. Okay, cool. Now, if we want to create sunglasses, we obviously need 2 of them. And I'm going to copy. Ooh. I'm not used to the new version yet. Oh, this is not a Dutch computer, of course. Where are we? Okay, so now it's starting to look like sunglasses. And we add a extrude to it and use these shapes, there we go, as the glass inside the sunglasses. And do another one and use this. Is that correct? There we go. We use the same spline, so one for the outline and one for the glass in the middle. Actually, I like it to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to add a little bit more to it. And what I love as well is a little reflection in it. So I'm going to add that too. Like an old school cartoon reflection idea. There we go. As you can see, this is far from perfect, but you know, it doesn't always have to be perfect. There we go. We've added this in. That's a bit too much. So I'm just going to do 1 centimeters, and I'm going to see where it is. There we go. There we go. And copy paste it for the other one as well. Oh, whoops. This keyboard, where is the Z? Oh, there. So I'm going to copy paste this one. And there we go. Okay, cool. So now we can select all these elements and say, you know, this is... Why is it not working? I'm really not used to this other keyboard. How can I make group object alt? Oh, okay, it's using alt, okay. So we say this is sunny sunglasses. And we can actually move it around. I'm too lazy to change the axis here. And we can move it around. Actually, let's do it anyway. So axis. No. I'll just create. Normally there should be a button right here. Going to ignore it for now. And we'll just place the sunnies right on top there. Let's see. There we go. A little bit higher. A little bit tilted. Okay, cool. Now, another feature that I really like, or love actually, is the volume builder and the volume mesher, because this actually turns everything into clay. So we're going to grab the sun sphere and the nose and actually mesh them together. So this is a bit too big. But if we then add a smooth deformer, then we can really smooth this out. Add a little bit more subdivisions here. And now you can see it's becoming one shape. I'm going to do the same for the rays to make them a little bit more funky. And I'm going to remove actually the sun outside, the sun inside of the rays. I'm going to add that in and say we want to subtract it. And adding in a smooth deformer, but also making it a lot thicker. And you can see it starts to look like clay almost. And I'm actually going to make it slightly smaller, like that. And you can see it's looking a little bit more funky there. So what else? We need to add a mouth. And again, I'm using a sweep to do so. And I'm using a spline tool to just quickly draw a mouth. There we go. It's as simple as that. Okay. Let's rotate this a bit. There we go. Like that. Oops. All right, we can adjust it later. And we are going to put this inside a sweep again. And there we go. Well, now it looks a bit too much like a little clown's mouth, but we're going to change that. Oops. And we are going to make this a bit bigger. And maybe we want to add some funny teeth as well. So we're going to grab the bottom one and push this a bit to the back. So we can add a couple of teeth here. There we go. Obviously the mouth is a bit too big. So we're going to scale it down and maybe place it like that. You can also project it onto your character. So it's like shaped around it. There you go. Maybe the glasses are a little bit too big. I'm going to put them inside a null. Just scale them down a little bit. Maybe they're a bit like that. All right. And then I'm going to add some teeth. And let's see. Let's do 8 by 3. No. Oops. Something like that. And yeah, there we go. So we're adding, oops, V. We're adding 2 of them onto here. There we go. I always love to create these kind of silly looking things. There's never a storytelling or, well, sometimes there is, but most of the time it's just creating something fun. There we go. As you can see, I think this took me, what, 50 minutes or something? I mean, it's not perfect and it's not rendered, but still, you can really easily create something fun with this. And I'm not going to render it fully, but we can add some color maybe. I'm just looking at Material Manager. Like if we would quickly do some coloring here just to give you an idea. You know, we would add some yellow. It's also the first time for me to work in the newest version, but it's still working quite the same way as the old one. I don't know, maybe the rays are orange. We use that there. And we create another one, and it's for the sunglasses, and it has 0 reflection there. And another one. This is really high speed creating something. Normally not this fast when I work, but the idea was to show you how quick you can get. I mean, it's not really well organized here either, but you know. And we create a little colored lip. There we go. And whoop. Perhaps the color of the sunglasses are the same. So there we go. I mean, it's still looking pretty cool, I think. And if you render it and create, obviously, a scene around it, you can definitely make this work. So, yeah, this is me showing in under 50 minutes. You can actually create something fun. So if you're interested in Cinema 4D, definitely just dive in and have fun with it. And just start with the basics and not really follow the rules per se, unless you're interested in doing that, of course. So I think this is it. I don't know how we are with the time, but I think we're nearly there, right? Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. If you have questions, please do ask me. I'll be around as well, but definitely ask me anything that you like. Oh, there you are.
I'm here. Thank you so much, Eva. It's so cool to see and so quick that you created that in like 20 minutes
Yeah.
or less. But colorful. I'm pretty sure when you render it, it'll be so colorful. We would love to actually 3D print it at some point as well.
That's cool.
That'll be
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
And stickers, of course.
Yeah.
And magnets, of course. And pins
wait.
and badges, of course. A lot of it. But that is, as I said in the beginning, she's a very colorful individual. Her work is super interesting and colorful. She has collaborated with amazing brands and she does super cool stuff. Please hang out with her. She's super amazing.
I'm dying for a beer, so we can go.
There you go. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you soon. Any questions, please connect with her, speak to her, and we will see you again in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.